I'm very impressed with that. I think it's exactly the right background for you. When you're ready, just fire away and tell us a little bit about partition.
One of the things about the history of the subcontinent is that it's always been a fractured uh, nation as India, even from fairly early times. And the most important invasion of India was under the Mughals in the 16th century. And the Mughals basically ruled northern India up until the 19th century, up until the time of the last Mughal emperors. As a consequence, there is a fairly stark division between northern and southern India, with a preponderance of Muslims in the north. And even today, despite partition and the migration of many Muslim families to both Pakistan and what was referred to as East Pakistan, modern Bangladesh, there are still more Muslims in India than in Pakistan, the present day. And I think this is important in the assessment of India. And indeed, I think given the troubles that went on in 47, it is a testament to the strength of the Indian government that followed partition, that this situation still appertains to this very, very day. I think basically here in Britain we have a very sketchy knowledge of partition and how it came about. From the 1920s, there was quite a strong movement towards the idea of an independent India, not an independent India and Pakistan. But things did, gradually change. The main proponents were, on the one hand, Gandhi, and on the other hand, there was the leader, Jinnah, of the Muslims. Of the two, the more nationalist was Jinnah. They were both lawyers, which is interesting, and this has a lot of bearing on what happened, that this legal framework was drawn up to separate both India, Pakistan, and East Pakistan, and to divvy everything up, including the Indian army and so on, and the railway system, all the rest of it. This was achieved at breakneck speed in 47 in 6 weeks, which is quite astonishing. But like every other thing that Britain turned its hand to post-war, whether it was Palestine or India, the partitions were a bit of a failure. And of course, the misery inflicted upon the peoples who lived in the Dominion of India at partition were immeasurable. And I think, speaking from the point of view of being British myself, I feel ashamed that we failed to ensure the safety of both main religions in India, both the Hindus and Muslims, and what happened was a blot on Britain and to an extent on the political leaders, but things got was quite a state. It was not helped by the Americans. The Americans had a part to play in post World War II divisions of empire. The Americans and their hatred for colonialism actually caused the imperial powers to probably take decisions in a too hurried manner. And if the Americans had maybe given everybody a bit more support to ensure that there was a smooth transition from one situation to another, we would be probably in a better position. And that still appertains today, that the Americans didn't realize in assuming the control of the world political scene from Britain, that it brought with it a degree of responsibility, but the Democrats who were in control at the time did not understand it. They understood democracy, but they didn't understand how to implement it. And I think this is a thing which is not understood. And in 1947, of course, Britain was trying to recover from World War II and was under a Labour government. It was for the Labour Party an enormous thing to undertake. I think the people who come out relatively well were Mountbatten and his wife, who did quite a good job considering their position. And this comes over well in the film The Viceroy's House. It was a political undertaking of an immense nature, and I suppose, it was fraught with difficulty, and they tried their best, and really they did, given the circumstances, an amazing job.